So look, I think we might get started and get ready to kick off. So lovely to have everybody on the call today. My name is Kylie Davis. I've recently joined ActivePipe. I'm a co-founder of HomePrezo and the founder of Real Content. And my specialty over the last 25, 30 years has been in journalism and marketing, and most recently in PropTech and helping and businesses like HomePrezo, which specialise on content and making it really easy for real estate agents to have great conversations with their customers. So what we wanted to do in this second part of the series was to start to look at the skills that you need to really deepen and start to create better email marketing. So I always like to kick off with some data, so let's do that. We know that about 4.5% of all properties in Australia, and there's over 10 million properties according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, that 4.5% of those are usually sold every year. Now, this year, as we all know, has been an extraordinarily weird year, and so it's likely to be a little bit down. But that's usually between around 400 to 500,000 properties that sell each year. And if you are in an agency that has about 3,000 contacts in your average CRM, then, oh, I'm missing a little, then you've probably got about 135 leads inside your CRM right now that are going to transact over the next 12 months. But the question really is, which ones are they, and how are you going to find them and stay in contact with them? And what we see in real estate, this is a changing behaviour that is happening across Australia, not just in real estate, but in absolutely every industry, is that increasingly we don't want to take phone calls and do the talking thing. So millennials really hate telephone calls. And in fact, the data that came out from realestate.com from Greg Brown at Prop20 was that only 20% of Australians, and the average number around the world is only 29%, but 27% of Australians actually want to use their mobile phone to make or take phone calls. So if your communication strategy and lead generation strategy is all around cold calling on the phone, then there's 73% of people who you're going to really struggle to reach. And this is why email marketing is so powerful. Now, we also talked last week, and it's great to revise it just to get ourselves in the right headspace around this issue of leaky leads. Now, the data shows us that about 45% of leads are lost every year. And your buyer leads, the leads that you're getting from people who are buying property from you and who are then deciding to not use you when it comes to sell, that's even higher. That's up around 75% of people. If you are losing 4 or 5% inside your CRM of 3,000 people, then that's about 60 properties every single year that you're not selling because you haven't connected with those people inside your database at the right time. And if you're charging about 2.5% commission on a median house price of around 800,000, which is the Australian median, which is a pretty generic number, but the number that we come up with that is about 1.2 million. So obviously inside your agency, based on your location and your CRM size and the number of properties that sell in your local market every year, these numbers are going to be different for you. But I really encourage you, if you haven't, to kind of sit down and work out what these numbers might look like for you inside your CRM, because it gives you a great benchmark for you to understand how the work that we're now doing is in improving your skills in email marketing, how much that is actually starting to give you as a return on investment. Now, how does email marketing reduce lost leads? A little bit of a reviser from last week as well. Well, we know that email is 40 times more effective than social media. So the return on investment for every dollar spent is $42 in email marketing, and that is higher than any other media. 35% of emails allow you to contact people more frequently. So again, if you've got 3,000 email addresses or contacts sitting inside your CRM, for you to have a meaningful conversation with each of them, that's going to take you about 60 days full time. And so by the time you get to the end of those phone calls, it would be time to do them again. And there's absolutely no guarantee that you'd be able to get to people at the right time. But when we start to do email marketing, that lets us scale. It lets us reach out to people more frequently. It gives us more opportunities to engage them in a conversation. And it means that we can do it more often and at a higher volume. So it means that we're reaching out to those 3,000 people on a lot more regularly. And what we see in email marketing too is that 58% of the emails are generating revenue. So of the emails that you're sending out there based on your open rates and all that sort of stuff, but the heavy lifting is going to be done by emails inside your system, and they will genuinely be delivering revenue to you. Now, they're figures from Content Marketing Institute, which is one of the global leaders in the content and email marketing space. So last week, we kind of looked at 4 things that you need to do to really kick off and get started. The first thing you need to do is to clean up your data, and if this is a new step to you because you're new this week, don't freak out. I really recommend you have a look at the deck that we did, because we broke that down into easy steps so that you don't have to panic about it. What we looked at next was segmenting your audience. And in the first instance, buyers, sellers, investors, renters, that's a great segmentation just to kick off with. Then we looked at determining how frequently you should be reaching out to people by email, and that is going to differ by the audience that you've got. So buyers are going to probably want something at least every week to see what's new on your lists. Sellers who are thinking about selling in 6 months' time are going to not want to contact you, be contacted every week, but they're going to need a different cadence. Investors, once a quarter might be enough to talk to them. And then we also talked about designing campaign templates that reflect who those audiences are and the kind of information that they are going to want to hear from you. And what we're going to do in this next sort of action-packed half hour is kind of go into that last step in a little bit more detail to look at the things that you can do to really lift your game in that space. So the first thing to improving your email skills are, step 1, provide compelling content. And the first rule to understand about this is that your emails are actually not about you. They are about your audience, because our attention is the most precious commodity that we've got today. What I'd really like you to think about all of your emails is that your clicks reveal intent, not content. I've mistyped that, but it's your clicks reveal intent. So your content needs to be interesting and valuable. You need to put yourself in the shoes of your audience. Why would they want to hear from you? Why is it valuable for you to be inside their inbox? And when we think about those different audiences that we identified before, our buyers, our sellers, our renters, our investors, they're all going to have different reasons why they want to be in contact with you and why they're interested to hear what you've got to say. And property listings are probably only going to be one part of that. Your buyers, absolutely, they want to see those listings. They want to see them, as soon as they can. They want them hot off the press. Sellers are going to be more interested in what you've just sold and how much things sold for, so that they can get a feel of prices. Investors might be interested in knowing what things are renting for, or knowing what the market has done over the last 10 years or so, however long they've owned. But the content that you deliver is really about delivering on the trust that your audience is giving you by letting you into their inbox. So we have this kind of sacred thing of trust, that by giving you my email address, I'm saying, yes, I'm happy to hear from you. But then every time you send an email, you have to continue to earn that trust and build on that trust by providing content that's really interesting. And it's interesting to them, not promotional and braggy about you. So let's think about some content ideas that would be valuable to an audience. One of the, and things that are different to just providing property listings. People want to know what things are selling for and what the prices are that are being achieved, not contact agent and I'll tell you, because then you're asking them to make a phone call so that they can leave a message so that you can call them back, so they don't see your number, they don't know who you are, and then they call you back and you play this silly phone tag. They just want to know how much did that property up the road go for. They want to know what's happening in their suburb, especially now, you know, post-COVID, or during COVID. Is it a safe time to buy and sell? Should, you know, what's going to happen over spring? If I'm thinking about selling, is it different now to what it was like 6 months ago? These things can also be answered in evergreen articles and content. And the way to think about, well, what would make good evergreen content is to think about, what are the questions that your customers or your clients ask you all the time? Because inside those questions will be some great ideas for articles or blogs. Market reports, so understanding how the local market's behaving, what are the median prices, what are the volumes of properties sold, what's the median rent, all of that kind of information is really powerful. And videos, whether they're videos like I've got here, which is one that was automatically generated by the Home Prezo platform, or whether it's you talking about the local market in your area, or interviewing local businesses or shopkeepers in your area, or, you know, anything that you're doing in that video space. Video is a really powerful content driver. And data snapshots too. Like, not everything has to be a detailed report that takes ages to look at. Little infographics or information about key statistics can be really powerful as well. And so Home Prezo is a great way to create some videos in that space that are data driven, or some suburb reports, and Asif, I think, is going to give you some more examples of that. And also Real Content is a stream of evergreen articles that are designed, written from a real estate agent's voice to be helpful and answer those questions. The second thing is, what I really want you to get out of this webinar is to care about what you're putting into your emails, and to care about who's going to be reading them, and to do more than just tick the boxes on what needs to be done, because ticking the boxes is the enemy of great email marketing. What drives me insane in email marketing are boring subject lines and terrible intros and really corporate speak. No one likes corporate speak, no one likes jargon, so get rid of that stuff. You really want, from the time that the email hits the inbox, you want people to go, oh, great, you know, oh great, here's what I need to know to help us get organized for this weekend when we're doing open for inspections and checking out what's new in the market, or we're trying to work out what we're going to go and see this week. Or they're going to think, oh, you know, John's just emailed me with the latest market update. That's great, because I was curious about that property up the road and how much that sold for. You really want, from the first word, to get people curious about what you're going to tell them, because this is really going to help them relate to you and want to be in communication with you. Now, subject lines and the little bit of intro text underneath them are not just labels, and we tend to treat them like that, especially in corporate writing, and it's such a wasted opportunity. Use those subject lines to think about, well, what does my reader want to know from me today? What am I going to share with them that is going to really hook them in and get them interested? They've given you their email address and invited you to have a relationship with them because they think you can answer some questions that they've got, and they think you can solve some problems for them. And so recognizing what those problems are and posing the answers to those questions, or solving those problems right from the outset, is a really powerful way to get engagement. Personalization is another great way to get engagement. Now, this only works if your data's nice and clean, and you're not going to say, you know, dear Mr. and then have nothing else there, or dear kind of random, you know, Active Pipe company name or stuff like that. Your data needs to be a little bit clean. But if you can personalize it, I know Active Pipe has a thing inside it that allows you to personalize even in the subject line, and you can personalize obviously inside the emails. The jury's a little bit out on emojis, according to Forbes magazine. They do work, you know, but I think you need to use them sparingly and with great context. Your subject line should be really concise and clear, because the language needs to be kind of short and sharp. And you need to make sure that you're not over promising or misleading, and you need to make every single one of those words count. So I've got an example here where we've got Ray White Narrogin. Big shout out to the Ray White Narrogin team. Sorry for using you as an example in this. That's great, because if I've signed up to your email list, I know who's sending it to me. But there's some things in here that I'd really like to highlight. Weekly listings update for, hang on, I've got my thing in the way, for contacts. So this is a personalized one. This is an example email, so the personalization hasn't come through. Weekly listings update, that feels pretty jargony to me. Like, you know, I would, if I've got 6 properties in there, 6 new properties that have listed in Narrogin, I'd really make it benefit driven. And this email in your browser piece of text is a complete waste of time, because 99% of emails do actually render properly in our email browsers these days. So I would be stripping that out, and I would be rewriting this text to make it really punchy and relevant, to tell the buyers that are getting this email that, you know, dear John, here's 6 new properties we've listed this week that meet your, in Narrogin that we think meet your criteria. Like, really personalize it to me, make it relevant to me. For further details on any of these properties, simply click on the property image. Okay, that's as a subject intro, that's not particularly helpful. I know how to work the internet, you know, like I know how to click an email. But I would be using every single one of these words to really show me the value of why I need to open this email and then act on it. And our final step, because this is pretty tight and quick, this week, and Asif's then going to give us a demo, is I really want you to think like your audience. And we tend to think about what we need to do in our emails and what we want to get out of them. And really, you've got to give to get that kind of response. So if you were them, what would make you act? If you were buying property in your market, what would make you want to open the email? If you were selling in your local area, what questions would you have, and what would you need to know to feel safe and trusting and secure? And then invite people to do the thing that you want to, because what we see often is that there can be some great content around it, but making sure people know where to click or what to do in order to get the answer. Your emails are all about intent. If you think about how the pages are laid out and all the different boxes and elements of the email, they're all there to design to get people to open the email and then to get them to engage with the content. And we really want them to do that, because every time they do something inside that email, it becomes an intent signal for the AI to start to grasp hold of. So last week we talked about how you don't need to have your database perfectly segmented and perfectly cleaned up, because once you get started in email marketing with ActivePipe, the automation at the back end will start to clean it up for you. But the content in your emails can really speed up that cleanup process. So when the content is interesting and relevant, and when it's about a topic that signals intent. So if I read this email, I'm sharing with you that I really am a first home buyer. When I click on this topic, I am sharing with you that I am ready to act in the next 2 months or 3 months. When you make it about intent, it's all about reinforcing those promised benefits. So doing a great call to action, which basically says, this is what you need to do, you know, click this button here. But avoid generic labels. So in the same way that generic labels are not helpful in the subject lines, when they're bland and they're average, you're going to get bland and average results when things are bland and average. You really want to use action-oriented words, and you want to encourage them to discover. So, you know, see 5 more homes here, or, you know, find out open times here, not just click here. Make it more engaging. And keep your buttons and colours and designs on brand, which is hopefully doesn't need to be mentioned, but don't make them hot pink unless hot pink is your colour. Now, ActivePipe helps you through this process because we've got a success manager for every office. The support team is on call, and we can do a regular account reviews for you. I've also, the content calendar last week was really popular, so I've included another link to that in here so you can start to schedule out your emails and get some structure into your month. And then also, if you're curious about how HomePrezo or Real Content might be able to work for you in improving your email open rates and engagement, then I've also clicked on the, provided the free trial links for Real Content and HomePrezo. And for HomePrezo, there's a 30-day free trial in play at the moment for ActivePipe customers. So finally, what I said at the beginning that I want you to get out of this email is that, webinar, sorry, is I want you to really think about caring about the content that's going into your emails, and think about the different parts of your email where the content is and how to make that special and audience focused. Don't be generic, because generic is average. Generic is what everyone is doing. And if you want to stand out from the crowd in a good way and get results that are better than average, you really need to put yourself in that audience frame of mind and think like the people who are reading your email. So here's what we're trying to get to. This is our perpetual loop of email enlightenment. We're looking to nurture, to capture intent, to understand our engagement from new clients and past clients, so that basically it becomes self-supporting and starts to really build and feed in on itself. So on that note, I'm going to hand over to Asif, who's going to step you through some of the how to do some of the skills that we've just walked through.
Thank you very much, Kylie, for that very insightful presentation. I'm sure the audience got a lot out of it. A very good afternoon to everyone joining us from all around the world. So I will be taking you through on how to build an email for the sellers for this particular session. So we'll quickly begin by sharing my screen with you all. All right. So I am logged into a demo account. So in order to create an email for the sellers, I will quickly jump onto the dark panel on the left, clicking on emails. We'll dive into the email section. The first thing, if we are aware, we can see the green cool button at the top right corner. And we need to click create email to create a brand new email. This takes us straight to a set of templates that's already provided to each office. Now, this is a generic one, but every office would have a very branded template to work with. Now, clicking on this asks me to name this email, but again, this is for internal reference only, so I'll just name it as email, for sellers. Press continue. As we can see, the internal name that we provided appears right on the top, but the main thing that we would want to be aware of is the subject line, because that's the first thing that your clients would be seeing whenever that email pops up on their smartphones as a notification. So I'll just put this subject line here. Can we help you with your property journey? And put this formula as contact dot first name in it. What this does is automatically populates the contact's first name onto the subject line. And immediately after selecting the subject line, we would add a category to it. And then moving forward, focusing on the introduction panel. The first name, the agent photo, and also the signature would already be pre-populated. What we can do is quickly take this opportunity to add a quick call to action button in the introduction panel itself. So in order to do that, what I'll do is just click on this little box over here, add a free appraisal button to it, since we are sending this email out for sellers, and put the ActivePipe landing page in it. So I'll just go by the pipe, properties, appraisal. Now, if you're familiar with this, you should be a bit able to put that all in, but if you are not across any of the landing pages here, please feel free to reach out. We will be more than happy to share this landing pages with you. I'll just do this. Could be a typo. All right. Let's just leave it as it is then. Cool. Moving forward from the introduction panel, we were discussing about putting some relevant content and also some cool interactive videos on the email template as well. So what I'll do is add a bit of spacer to it to just make the email look a little nicer. Drag and drop the heading from the dark panel on the right. As you can see, you've got a list of tools to play with. Add a heading here, and then just name it as some interesting read and place a placeholder just by clicking on this, putting in the context first name onto the heading just to create a more personalized interaction. And then what I'll do is over to the right, scroll down all the way to the bottom, and under Smart Feed, we've got the feature tile, which we can easily drag and drop. And clicking on the orange tile at the corner takes us straight to our property feed. Now, selecting any of the content libraries here allows us with the access to lots of up-to-date relevant contents. So I'll just click on, say, connect your community to begin with. And any of the articles on this screen can be selected. Let's see if we can find something for the sellers. If it's not in connect your community, let's do real content and see if we can find some here. There you go. Quick search. We have got one for the sellers at the very beginning. Now, once I click on it, this article gets pulled through to the screen right away. Now we can amend any of the content on the screen to make it a lot more relevant and precise to encourage more engagement of our audience on the email. And if we want, we can take this opportunity to add a few more contents as well. If I drag and drop this list, add or remove any of the contents, but again, clicking on the orange button takes us back to the library content. And then again, I'll just stick to this library because we're finding a few more over here for the sellers. So let's just pick this one right here and then amend some of the content. Very easy to amend any of the things, as you can see. Just let's keep it a little more precise. Cool. Now that we have set up the introduction panel, shared a bit of content, let's just put some more colors as Kylie mentioned previously. Now you can select any of the brand colors, but I'm just clicking on blue. Not that it's my favorite, but that's just there to pick from. But moving forward from the content, let's just see if we've got some video available to have some more interaction or engagement on our email. Just add a bit of spacer again, and then put in a heading here. Let's just say a suburb report for you. Now, you must be aware that the YouTube channel can easily be integrated into your emails here. So what I'll do is, in order to fetch any of the videos, quickly jump onto the media panel here, drag and drop this video tile onto the canvas. Clicking on choose video takes us to the channel window. Now, if we want to share any of the videos from our channel, we can select it from here if the channel is already integrated. But if we want to pick any of the videos available in YouTube, not necessarily it has to be in your channel, we can just copy the URL link and then just paste it in this URL tab and click on get video. As you can see, one of the home presser videos appears right away on the screen. That's a suburb report as well, a really cool one to look at. There you go, the videos right there. Now, once we have engaged our audience through some content, have added a very interactive video to it as well, let's just share some of the recently sold properties maybe. So in order to do that, what I'll do is begin again by adding a heading to it. Name it as, say, recently sold properties. Change the color of the tile. Let's do again blue. Let's keep it consistent. And then jumping onto the property grid over here, drag and drop the property grid onto the canvas. And this time we would want to auto-populate it by moving the toggle bar to the right. Now, if we want to highlight some of the sold properties, all we have to do is click on Define Properties here, go to Listing Status, and just change it across to sold. We can fit in this grid any number of properties between 4 to 48, but we will generally want to keep it between 4 to 10. We wouldn't want to have a long stressed out email. Let's select 10 here. I'll do all zoning times, but there are, just to give a bit of idea, there are more advanced functionalities available as well based on, say, properties sold in the last 7 days, 30 days, based on context interaction as well. If somebody interacted with a specific property in the last, say, 7 days or the last couple of weeks, we can have that kind of property fetched onto the email template as well. But to start off, let's keep it at the basic level. Now, once we have selected the properties, as you can see, it gets auto-populated here. Now, we might want to take this opportunity to draw our traffic to, say, somebody who would be keen to respond to any of the inquiries through this email. In order to do that, what we can easily do is drag and drop a button onto the canvas, go to the button details, name it as somebody's in charge of responding to this particular email. Apart from the sender, we can go by, say, contact receive for details. I can put in this little formula here. Oops. Mail to, and put my email address in it. The moment the audience clicks on this cool button over here, lets them write an email to me in this instance. So that's another quick tool for you if you want to direct your traffic to some specific agents or specific team members in the office. But again, a lot more for you to explore as well. Now, once I have created this email, I'll quickly take a look at it, going to view property and previewing it, because this is definitely a good practice, because you would want to know and would want to be happy with whatever you're sending out to your audience. View it first and then send it through. Now, that's the look as a desktop format. You can change the bar across and look at it as the mobile format as well. Also, you can quickly send a preview to yourself as well on behalf of any of the agents, just to get a look and feel of it before it goes up and live for your audience. I will just save this one here, and so that you can access it when you're trying to create your campaign. But if you're in the agent account, once you have saved it, you will have the quick send option over here available, so that you can click on it, select any of the contacts or even any of the audiences or tags, set it up for you in your CRM. So, conscious of time, we'll leave the floor open for some questions now then.
Clark, do you want to give us the questions, or do you want us to read through them? Okay, Asif, I'm going to ask a question that has come from Alice Callahan, and she wants to know if we're able to change the first few preview sentences manually. Hers always says no images, click here, and their address, but and it's in the fixed header, but she's not sure. Like, so how do you edit that first preview sentences?
Oh,
the intro
yes. So
section.
any of the sentences in the introduction panel can easily be clicked on and amended as I took you through. So you can always change your introduction panel to have a very personalized introduction based on the type of email that you're sending out. So that's all for you to play with.
Mm-hmm. And we've had this question in a couple of times. So how Amy Bell has asked, how can I insert a PDF or link to a PDF in an email?
Cool. So with the PDFs, we highly encourage not to attach any of the PDFs on the email. So what it does is it leads the email to land in the spam box, which we would definitely wouldn't want to be yet. So a good practice would be to maybe add a link to the button in the email, and also we do have the hyperlinks available as well to put in the emails. So we can either put the link of the PDF in the email, in the button in the email, or place it as a hyperlink in the email body.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about PDFs is that they really slow an email down, and they can, mash it up with spam filters and things like that. So by putting a link by having that PDF sitting somewhere online and then linking back to it, two things happen. You are avoiding having all of that weight in your email, so to speak, but also, again, thinking about intention, you can then start to see and monitor who's clicked through the button or the link to go to the PDF. If you just attach it, you really don't know how many people have opened it or what they've done with it. So thinking about how to get it up online.
For sure.
Thank you.
So, all right. So let's see, what else do we have?
So I think we've answered it. So when you do that button that you did with the email, Asif, that will then automatically set up an email and respond that goes straight to your inbox, right?
Yes, that's correct. So every time and anytime the audience clicks on that particular button where I put my email address, that button will lead to an opening of an email builder window, and anybody would be able to write an email to my email address. So that's a very quick and easy fix to draw the inquiries to the right person in the office. I've had a lot of questions around that. I'm pretty sure that would help a lot of our clients as we hear.
And I have a quick question. So you were writing the code because you obviously do it all the time and you know how to do that. Is there a central place where you can find what those instructions are, or is there a way to see what you can do in that space?
Great question, Kylie. And I encourage the clients to ask these questions as well, because we do have the ActivePipe Support Hub, where any of the questions or any of the cool tricks you can put in the email builder is there for you to pick from. So any of the questions, or even say questions around how to put in the context first name on the subject line, can be found in the Support Hub. So highly encouraged to take a look at it. More than happy to share the link through the emails as well after this session.
Cool. So look, I think we're going pretty good to time. So what just to wrap up, Alice has asked, how do we download the actual slideshow so that you can access the links that we put in it? In good email practice, we will email you the links to the Google presentation that we've done today so that you can download that yourself, and we will see if you've clicked on it. But then also inside the email, I'm pretty sure Clark is also going to pop some of the links that we put in that last slide into the email so that you can also grab them straight away when we send out the notes and things from today's session. So Asif, I think we might wrap up from there. What do you reckon? Any other last questions?
I feel we're quite over time, but
Yeah,
really
sorry.
appreciate the audience sticking around for some Q&As. So love the spirit over here. But definitely, if we haven't answered any of the questions, we will be answering all the questions offline, and we will be reaching out to you all over the email. But if there are any further questions apart from these, please feel free to send us an email at success@activepipe.com, or if you've got my details already, feel free to reach out. The support team is here to help as well. And thanks again, Kylie, for that great, insightful presentation. Really enjoyed it. Hope the audience did too as well.
Thanks, Asif. I always learn something every time you every time you do a demo for us. Thanks, everybody.
Cool.
Speak to
Thank
you
you.
soon. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.